Hello and welcome back to my second review. Today we will be covering Axis Jet Fighters. Oh, nope, wrong button. Axis Jet Fighters. We're going to be looking at level 1 today and level 2, but mostly just level 1. So here we have the Messerschmitt MU-163, average damage of 2.9, with an attack of 28.6 against aircraft. And its defense against aircraft is just as good, about 14.3. And its attack against unarmored is 6.9 with a defense of 3.4. So surprisingly, it's actually pretty good against unarmored, which is something I didn't expect. It's an air unit. That's really about it that we have for that. So for level 2, we also have the Messerschmitt ME-263, which gets amazing boosted results. We have a 4.1 average damage and 46.8 damage against aircraft, with the defense being 23.4, with the unarmored attack being upgraded slightly from 6.9 to 9.2, and the defense to 4.6. So while I was looking at the other fighters and whatnot, I realized that the jet fighters are a lot better against aircraft than what, let's say a level 3 interceptor is, the BF-110, which is at an 11.5 and 7.7, both on attack and then defense in that order. And so, if you also take back and look at World War II and whatnot, the jet fighters were mainly used to attack Allied fighters and bombers, thus being them rocket fighters. So the proper way to counter these would be multiple upgraded interceptors. That would be one of the best ways, along with upgraded stacked anti-air. Those are about the only other ways I could try and take a guess at how to counter them. Cruisers work as well. Upgraded cruisers work as well. Other than that, those would be the only real ways to actually knock one of these things out, as they are an air unit and they are harder to kill because they are an air unit. So there's not many ways to actually kill them. However, that being said, these things stacked are very dangerous. I have seen many players stack these up in like 5s and 10s and them being absolutely devastating. So what you want to do is to fight back against these, especially the Axis ones, is either fight back against it with jet fighters as well, or again, as I said, mass interceptors, along with maybe anti-air, both SPA and AA, and then if they're over the sea or whatever, cruisers. Those would be the only real ways to counter them. Unless you know which airfield they're taking off from, then you could use strategic bombers and knock them out. So other than that, those would be the only ways to counter them. Playing them, be careful. Something I've realized over the years is that, especially with having jet fighters, you don't want them on a patrol necessarily. You want them to attack directly, because this is where that 28.6 is really going to come in. Especially if it's upgraded, that's where that 46.8 is going to come in, is if they're attacking directly, not patrolling. And they would work best against bombers, since bombers have very much a low defense against aircraft of any kind. So while the jet fighters have the ability to be able to fight fighters, they're mostly better against bombers. But you can in fact fight fighters with fighters. It's like fighting fire with fire. You can fight fighters with fighters. But yeah, using interceptors in AA and cruisers would be the only way I could think of to be able to counter those. The cruisers, again, effective both if they were patrolling and if they were attacking directly. And then with the interceptors, you'd have to get lucky if they were patrolling, if you didn't want to have to fight them head on, especially if you didn't have enough or if they weren't as well upgraded. Other than that, that's all I can think of how to counter them. Thank you. This has been a pretty short review of how to combat jet fighters effectively. And then there will be something new posted the next day. Thank you. Subscribe and like helps my new channel, especially with this. And I shall see you next time.